There are stories that are a source of inspiration and hope for everyone. The story of this courageous woman is one of them, and her legacy will always be a mirror in which all women around the world will want to look. Michelle Velez is a proud mother of two, married for over 10 years to Alex, her devoted husband with whom she had been in love since high school. Michelle is a person known for being a famous and respected national news anchor, but that never made her any less humble or likable. "I'm just another hard worker. Being on television doesn't make me superior to anyone. I offer a service to the citizenry in the same way a mechanic does, by fixing our cars. I'm not special, I don't deserve different treatment," were the words Michelle shared in a recent interview. Both she and her husband considered themselves humble and fortunate for the life they had. Since Michelle left television, she had dedicated herself, body and soul, to raising her two children and taking better care of herself. The pace of TV network work is hectic, and she rarely had time to go for a run, have a coffee with friends, or just lay on the couch and relax whenever she wanted. Her new life also allowed her to spend more time with her husband, with whom she had barely been able to spend time alone since their children were born. And she became the big star of the Las Vegas News Channel. But that state of absolute peace was to be relatively short-lived, because they were about to receive some big news that would once again turn their lives upside down. "I still have to go to the doctor, but I have a strong suspicion that I'm pregnant," telling her husband, Michelle couldn't help but scream with excitement. Both she and her husband were happy about the news, because even though they had not actively tried to conceive, the news of the positive pregnancy test result filled their hearts with happiness. Michelle and her husband began to dream about the future and their new baby on the way. Their two children were also excited about having a new little brother to care for and play with, so the whole family was beaming about the baby's arrival. However, all the happiness they were feeling was soon to turn to heartache. Michelle and her husband went to the doctor for the baby's first ultrasound. They were happy and couldn't wait to see their son for the first time, but they had no idea that devastating news would soon overshadow their great moment of happiness. As the doctor placed the cold gel on her belly and began to inspect the area for the little one, an awkward silence fell across the room. Michelle didn't quite understand what was going on, and neither did her husband. They were frightened to see the doctor's worried face. "Is something wrong, doctor? Where is the fetus? Why can't you see anything on the screen?" Michelle asked him in alarm when she saw that he was not telling them anything. "Mrs. Velez, I'm sorry to tell you that there's no baby. Indeed, your body is preparing for gestation, but the placenta is completely empty, no life form developing inside. I am truly sorry." Michelle's heart sank as the doctor's word cut through the room like a knife. "Is there nothing we can do, doctor? Any treatment to follow?" Alex asked, seeing that his wife was devastated and unable to speak. "If all goes according to plan, Michelle should miscarry in the next few weeks. It is the natural process when a molar pregnancy occurs," the doctor told them with a worried gesture in an attempt to cheer up the devastated couple. The loss of that new baby was almost unbearable for them, and they knew they had a long road ahead of them, but they had no idea how long that road would be. Weeks passed, and Michelle followed her doctor's advice with complete bed rest. But instead of miscarrying, Michelle's body began to behave as if she was actually pregnant and the fetus was still growing. In the weeks following the fatal diagnosis, she vomited, was nauseous every morning, felt tired, and experienced other symptoms of pregnancy. Neither she nor her husband understood anything, and since they didn't know what to do either, they decided to keep waiting for the miscarriage to occur as the doctor predicted. But nothing of the sort happened. Michelle's discomfort was increasing, and she could no longer even get out of bed without vomiting or getting dizzy. "Take me to the doctor, please," Michelle pleaded with her husband one morning when she felt her strength failing and couldn't stand the symptoms any longer. The couple returned to the doctor after a month of illness for a second ultrasound to clarify their doubts. But this time the result was different. Her hormone levels were out of control. Essentially, it was as if she was pregnant with 5 babies at once, the doctor told her when he checked the results of the test they had done. "Mrs. Velez, we are going to have to ask you to stay with us so that we can thoroughly examine your case, and I would like to keep you in the hospital to monitor all the symptoms and their evolution," her doctor suggested with a gesture of concern when he did not see anything clear in the first tests he had done. The doctors had reason to believe that it was something else, and they were not wrong. After several days in the hospital, the doctor visited her in her room to give her the worst news anyone could receive. Michelle's doctor wanted her to see an oncologist to rule out the worst possible diagnosis. However, the referral sent the couple into a panic. They didn't understand anything that was going on and were extremely afraid. "I don't understand anything. I'm so scared," Michelle told the doctor in an attempt to delay the worst news, but to no avail. At this point in your treatment, gynecology cannot do that, and we need someone who is an expert in the area of cancer to examine you to clarify what is going on in your uterus. "We understand. I didn't mean to offend you. We will do what you think is best," apologized Michelle, trying to catch her breath. When the doctor left and left her alone in the hospital room, she realized that her attitude was not going to solve anything. If there was something wrong with her, staying cooped up without knowing what it was not going to cure her. She had to be brave and face the truth, whatever it was. "Don't forget, you're the strongest woman I know," were her husband's words a few minutes before the oncologist gave them the results of her latest tests. Unfortunately, the diagnosis was clear. Michelle was suffering from advanced uterine cancer that had already spread to her lungs, kidney, and liver. It was a shocking and frightening diagnosis that Michelle wished she had never had to hear, but the doctor also wanted to make it clear to her that there was a reason for hope. "Mrs. Velez, your cancer is very treatable," the doctor explained, trying to encourage her, although without much success. "I would never lie to a patient, let alone one with a diagnosis like yours. If I tell you that you can be saved, it's because I really believe you can. It will be hard, and you will have to fight with all your might, but we will not leave you alone. I know we can do it, Michelle. Let me help you." And so she did. With the help of a great medical team and the unconditional support of her husband and children, Michelle fought cancer with all her strength. Throughout the treatment process, she tried to remain optimistic and strong, even though there were weeks when the side effects of the treatments made it impossible to see the bright side of things. After the first few months of treatment, Michelle felt more encouraged and began to share her entire cancer healing process through her social networks, where she was grateful for the support of other women who contacted her after learning her story. She had no idea how many women had had to go through the same pain as her, suffering from a molar pregnancy that later turned into cancer. Michelle also wanted to take advantage of her popularity to draw attention to a disease as rare as hers and that many people are still unaware of. Little by little, she became the mirror in which thousands of women like her could look and feel identified. She wanted all those people who felt as lost and forgotten as she did when they were diagnosed to know that they were not alone and that she would fight to increase research into her disease. In a post on her public account, she expressed how she felt to her hundreds of thousands of followers. "When it comes to women's health, sometimes it's a taboo subject and we're not supposed to talk about it, and I think these women who contact me are seeing someone in a little bit more of the spotlight talking about it, and it's making them feel less alone, but they're making me feel less alone." Despite many difficult times, including hospitalization for major blood loss after her first round of chemotherapy, Michelle didn't give up and focused on beating cancer. Her main motivation was her love for her 2 children and the desire to spend time with them again, and her loyal husband who never left her alone. After chemotherapy, Michelle felt exhausted and acknowledged that it was a really tough treatment. However, the good news came, and the first test revealed that her condition was starting to improve and the cancer was rapidly receding. Her online community of followers was shocked by Michelle's health condition, and many users wished for her complete healing. Her social networks were filled with well wishes and blessings for her speedy recovery. "God is good. Stay strong." What a sadness. God bless her, sending prayers of healing. Prayers on your way. God will get you through this. Michelle continued to fight despite the complications and held her head high. Her positive attitude and determination also inspired others facing their own complex health issues, while giving her energy to continue to cope with the painful side effects of her treatment. Today, Michelle is a healthy, cancer-free woman. She managed to overcome the disease only 8 months after her diagnosis, and the doctors were impressed by her ability to recover despite the difficulties she had to overcome. She never went back to work, and since overcoming the disease, all her efforts have been focused on helping all women who, like her, have had to suffer from this terrible disease about which so little is known. Michelle returned to live a full life without pain or after effects, but she is aware that not all women are as lucky. Her mission is to give a voice to all of them and to help make medical research into rare diseases a priority for medical authorities in the country and the world. Her story could be that of any other woman, and knowing that she was able to overcome it is a ray of hope for all of them. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.